Have you ever stopped to think about how an entire industry, like a giant ship, actually turns itself around? It doesn't happen all at once. Nope. It happens one person, one career, one project at a time. And today, we're going to trace that exact transformation by following the 22-year journey of an engineer who was right in the middle of it. All right, let's get into it.
It all kind of starts with a question like this one. How in the world do you build something as massive and complex as a 5-star hotel, with its thousands of systems and parts, and know for sure it's all going to fit together? For the longest time, the answer was basically paper, grit, and a lot of problem solving on the fly. But that world, it's long gone.
So, to really get to the heart of this revolution, we're going to follow the career of Abdelhamid Belmaris. His story isn't just about one guy's career path. It's really the blueprint for how the entire field of civil engineering got rebuilt from the ground up, moving from the muddy worksite into the clean, precise world of the digital model. So, let's rewind the clock. We're starting at the beginning, back when engineering was a profession built on dirt, on concrete, on being physically present. This was a career literally forged on site. Abdelhamid's career kicks off deep in the fundamentals. I mean, he starts in 2003 as a lab engineer, literally testing the soil that projects would be built on. From there, he climbs a ladder, becoming a project manager, and by 2012, he's leading a whole structural engineering department. You know, a classic rise through the ranks, all built on that tangible, real-world experience. And we're not talking about small jobs here. Just look at the scale of the projects he was juggling back in this analog era. We're talking 5-star hotels, luxury villas, massive factory extensions. His role back then? He was the human central hub, the guy trying to coordinate dozens of teams with stacks of paper plans right there on the construction site. But you can probably guess what happens next. As the projects got bigger and way more complicated, this old way of working started to show its cracks. The analog blueprint was becoming a serious bottleneck. Okay, this slide really gets to the core of the issue. The traditional workflow on the left, it was all based on separate 2D drawings. Architects had their plans, engineers had theirs, electricians had theirs. The only time you found out a pipe was aimed directly at a steel beam, what they call a clash, was when the crew was literally standing there on site, and those fixes, unbelievably expensive. So this leads to the million-dollar question, right? When you're dealing with that much complexity, with so many moving parts, how do you catch those mistakes before they happen? How do you stop errors that could cost millions and set a project back for months? The industry was desperate for a new answer. And that answer, well, it was a total paradigm shift. It wasn't just some new tool. It was a completely new way of thinking about building. It was called BIM. So what is BIM? Building Information Modeling. It's basically creating a complete, intelligent 3D digital twin of a building before a single shovel ever hits the dirt. And it's not just a pretty picture. It's a shared database. Every single thing, from a huge steel beam down to a tiny electrical socket, is an object with information attached to it. The key is, everyone works on the exact same model in real time. Now, for Abdelhamid, this wasn't just a new piece of software to learn. No way. It was a catalyst for a full-on career pivot. He saw where the future was headed and decided he was going to build it himself. So he founded these digital-first engineering firms, Pramin and BIM Pulse, where BIM wasn't just another service, it was the entire foundation of how they did business. So how does this actually work in practice? Well, at his firm, the whole process is flipped on its head. It starts with that digital architectural model. Then they layer in the structural plans and all the complex guts of the building, the plumbing, the electrical, you name it. That model is the coordination tool. And the best part? All the final construction documents are generated straight from that single source of truth. Those on-site clashes, they're found and fixed in the digital world months ahead of schedule. It's a game changer. And look, to lead this kind of charge, you have to walk the walk. He had to master a whole new digital toolkit. He didn't just mess around with it, he went out and got certified. He mastered Revit, which is the industry standard. He got his PMP for project management, and get this, he even learned to code in Python, which is going to be important in a minute. He literally invested in becoming fluent in this new digital language. And that brings us to today. Because for pioneers like Abdelhamid,
Mastering the present is really just a launchpad for inventing what's coming next.
This quote from the man himself really says it all. This whole transformation, it wasn't just about grabbing a new tool to be more efficient. It was driven by this core belief that technology is absolutely essential to solving the massive challenges of modern construction, from saving money to building more sustainably.
Which, of course, gets you thinking, okay, if BIM is the present, what does the future look like? What's the next big leap?
And this is where it gets really exciting. The next frontier is all about smashing together the rich data from those BIM models with the raw power of programming. Remember that Python certification? This is why. It's about writing code to automate repetitive tasks and run powerful simulations to optimize a building's design for things like energy use or material costs, all before it's even built.
See, this all builds to a completely new vision for what an engineer even is. The job is no longer just about designing and building. It's about automating and optimizing. And even more than that, it's about being part of a global community, sharing what you know, collaborating, and pushing the whole industry forward together. So, as we trace this incredible 22-year journey from the dusty construction site to the clean lines of code in a digital model, it leaves us with one last thought. Abdelhamid's story is a blueprint for transformation in his world. And it kind of makes you wonder, right? What are the old traditional blueprints that are being totally redrawn in your field right now?